I am building a side project and I want to get the V1 up and running this week. This project is purely based on my personal need, and as a software engineer in the era of AI, I am constantly exploring ways to automate workflows. So, this project is one such automation, I would say. My idea is to automate my process of creating LinkedIn posts. I personally have a tendency to post on LinkedIn every week talking about the things that I learned. Honestly, I started this when I was a student, and it used to be fun back then. It's like a weekly review and journaling all the fun things that I've done. But ever since I started working, the amount of things that I'm learning on a daily basis is huge, and my learning curve is exponential. So it's very difficult to capture all these different thoughts and write posts, and also being mindful of the proprietary information. But then I still had a workflow where I created a Notion page called my work journal, and every day I would go to it and write 3 points about the things that I learned or any interesting ideas that sparked that day. And towards the end of the week, I'll pull all the notes and I'll use AI to create a post on LinkedIn. Now I want to automate this process, not the information like the source part. The source of the post is going to be the Notion page, which I personally write, but then the process of creating a post based on a prompt and then maybe scheduling the post, waiting for my review, and upon approval, the flow can generate the post in LinkedIn. That's the idea. Honestly, I did start working on it and I laid the base architecture and foundation. But 1 week after I did this, I explored Claude and MCP, and I was super disappointed because Claude can do it. Like with Claude, I can connect to my Granola MCP, GitHub MCP, Notion MCP, write whatever I want to, and then post it on LinkedIn. So I stopped working on this project for a bit because of that. But then recently, one of my friends motivated me to do this for the sake of learning and experimenting rather than thinking about the business or the product value. So that motivated me to pick this project up again and start building the V1 for it. Alright, I am going to demo what I have already got. This is like the login page. I wanted this application to be super intuitive, hence you will see a lot of text describing what this application is about or what a specific feature would be about. I added a basic Google OAuth and I should be able to sign in. Once I do, I can go directly to the generate. I want this application to have 3 building blocks. So let me talk about it briefly. I want to generate a post, so that's like the first building block. The second one is prompt templates. My future scope idea is to store all the prompts that I'm providing as templates and reuse it in the future. And the third one is once a post is generated, I want to store the post so that in the future I can connect it to LinkedIn Analytics and get information about how people are reacting to a particular post. Again, these two are future scoped. Now let's talk about generate step. For generating a post, I have 3 steps. One is the source for the post. Obviously, right now I'm using Notion, but I also added general URLs. Like if I read an article or if I read a paper, I might want to talk a bit about that. So I want to be able to give reference to those articles, or I can just type what I want to write about and the LLM should be able to generate the post. So that's step 1. Step 2 is the prompts itself. I can give a manual new prompt, or I want the ability to reuse the prompt that I have already stored. And I also added a couple of features on selecting the tone of the post that I want to be, or creating hashtags for the post. These are all additional features. The last one is the generated post itself. I do want to have a schedule and the ability to post to LinkedIn directly. So these are like my high level use cases. So going back to application, this is the generate step, and these are the 3 building blocks: the source, AI instructions, and the generate post area. I wanted to be super intuitive so you can see like a whole lot of text. I don't know why, I just find it more useful. And the whole UI, I wanted it to be like the editors, the IDs that we use. I want to be able to close each and every section because I know there's just a lot that's happening in this page. So I want to be able to keep each section collapsible so that I can have a lot of content. So this is the generate area, and for the templates, I did save one in the past. Like I can type something and I can save it as a template, and then I can fetch that prompt in here to write a post. And the third section is once a post is generated, I can save that post. I can select the notes and then I can use some of the standard prompts, or I can just use my prompt that I used in the past. And in the settings, I can use the tone. It can be storytelling or data driven. Let's just do storytelling. Right now, I am trying to use the free models just to see the efficiency. But oh yeah, there's also the feature where you can manually write what you want it to be about. This window is bigger than the regular one so that you have more space to write. You can in fact do this. This is like the cool part. I really love this one. But yeah, you can like manually write whatever you want. Or you can just give instructions and then you can hit send. Okay. That's actually really interesting. Since I used the storytelling tone, this is a pretty solid post, I would say. It also gave me hashtags that I can use. I can save this post. So when I go here, I'll have this post saved. But yeah, this is what I have now. I haven't connected it to the automation part. So I'll be working on connecting it to the LinkedIn and then the automation part, and also update some of the AI instructions to generate this and make it more intuitive. All right, this is the tech stack that I'm using. Honestly, it has been introduced to me by one of my senior engineers, and it is so amazing that I stick to it all the time. Maybe I should experiment more and try different tech stacks, but for now, I'm sticking to the standard workflow. Svelte is the full stack TypeScript framework that I use for most of my applications. Neon is the database that I'm using. I use Vercel for deployment and OpenRouter to use all the diverse LLM models. And Cursor is my go-to IDE. I am trying to build in a monolith layered architecture, dividing the code into the layers of schema, models, services, and routes. I can quickly show the code architecture in my Cursor just in a bit. And these are the two things that I want to talk about. Maybe it's better to just go to Cursor. So this is my folder. Obviously, most of my code lies in the source folder. I have my library and routes contains all the different routes in my application, the main app route, the login route, and all the remaining APIs that I have for different features. Inside source, I always split the code as client to be my front-end facing elements. Server will have all the backend, especially the DB will have the models and the schema layer, and shared folder is the shared utilities between the front end and the back end. Now, the one thing that I want to talk about ever since the whole vibe coding became a thing is my workflow and some of the rules that I use. So my workflow is pretty simple. Whenever I get a use case, I try to ideate on that in the plan mode, and I try to use somewhere between medium to high models. So it'll be either Sonnet or Opus. I try to ideate on that, and then I have a command that is plan review. I have a set of instructions where it reviews the whole plan and gives me a list of bugs. Once I have them, I'll resolve them, and then I'll go into agent mode and use somewhere between low to medium level models. It will mostly be Sonnet to build the actual feature. Once the feature is built, I'll use the review changes command. So this particular command reviews all the changes in the code since the last commit and how it'll act if it is pushed to the previous branch. It has a comprehensive instructions to make sure that all the tests are run and making sure all the new changes are not breaking. And in terms of rules, right now, I just have only one at the moment. Since this is more of an experimental learning project for me, I wanted to set the tone that Okay, this is my design principle and this is the tech stack that I'll be following. So before building something, we need to follow these instructions and we need to make sure that the code is lean, simple, and following all the software design principle, and also make sure that it has the experimental and learning oriented nature to it. I'll probably add another rule for documentation that's on my list. It's very important to have documentation. At the moment, I don't have anything written, but in some of the other projects that I'm working on, we'll make sure that every folder or every file will have a detailed documentation storing the context of the feature and application, which is really useful for AI to build code. That's pretty much it. All right, I got the application up and running. So we know what goes in here. I worked on settings page mostly this week where I got all the different connections in this application, and I'm going to mostly talk about them now. First one is the AI model. I obviously use the free models from the open router. So that's the connection there. And the second step is integrating with Notion. In order to fetch my nodes from Notion, I had to create a connector. So I went in here right now. I created like a LinkedIn post generator connector, but if you want to fetch any information, you'll probably have to go into your manage connections and create one for yourself, or you can go to developers portal and create your own connections here. I created this one and that will generate a token which you can use to connect your Notion. And then I wanted to specifically connect to this particular page and not all the other pages. So on the top of the URL, you'll find the page ID. I just grabbed that and added it here, and that completes my Notion integration. Next comes LinkedIn integration, which actually is not as simple as I thought. So LinkedIn's API does not allow every individual to post on LinkedIn. You need to create a page, or you need to have an organization, and you need to create an app. Only then it'll expose their APIs to do it. It was a bit of a research, so I made sure I added them here. I honestly don't know why I added all these docs in here. It's just helpful for me personally. So in order to get the LinkedIn's APIs, we need to create an app in the developer tool. So when we go here, I created a Potion page first, and then it needs to be an organization. I just created an organization for one person, mostly self-owned, and then I created the page. Once I created that, this page allowed me to grab the access token, which you'll find when you go into your docs and tools and then OR tools token, and then you can create your token. This token is what I attached here, which will give me access to LinkedIn APIs to post my posts. All right, so those are the two major integrations. And finally, the automation piece. I've connected to LinkedIn, I've connected to Notion. Now, let's test this out. And for testing, I'm just going to choose daily because I want to do it now. And I'm going to do the most recently edited Notion page. So it'll fetch the recent one. I actually have a new page which is May 15th to 30th where I just wrote a little bit of blog about what I'm working on and this image. Ooh, one more cool thing that I added is so far I've been generating only the posts, but now I also added to extract images because on weekly posts I usually attach a couple of images and I wanted my posts to have those images. So I added images and I'm storing them in the Vercel blob storage. Let's add a really short prompt in here. Okay, now coming to this part, the draft at is when the AI drafts my post and sends me a notification. And then the publish on at time is when the engine posts on LinkedIn. So let's just do it Saturday because it's Saturday. Let's do maybe 5:10 p.m.-ish. And then I'm just going to do this and save automation. All right, in order to test this, I know the cron runs at 8 a.m. every Saturday, but I'm just gonna use a call command to run it now so that we can see how the post is generated. All right, I ran the cron job and I can see that a post is created. Let's just approve it for now. All right, we see that the post is published and we can see the post on LinkedIn. I'll probably be deleting this because I don't want this out there. This is testing, but yay, the post is published. This is the email flow. Once a post is drafted, it'll send me a notification and I can view or refine it by clicking into this link. So it'll take me to the page where the post is created. I can update it and then I can approve it for it to be scheduled. All right, I'm super excited that I got this flow finally up and running. It feels really good to see the email notifications and the draft posts. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the trepidation on using AI to generate content on social media. I agree that we are losing a lot of authenticity either on LinkedIn or in any other platforms. So I just wanted to say I'm not using AI to generate my whole post. Rather, I'm just using it to automate the workflow. The source of my post is still going to be my Notion work journal when I am typing out all my thoughts. And honestly, I don't think I'm ever gonna just approve something that AI created to schedule it to post on LinkedIn. In my opinion, I'm going to use this tool because there'll be weeks where I don't feel motivated to write my thoughts on the journal, right? So when I know that I have this automation going on in the back, which runs on every Saturday and fetches my notes from the whole week, it'll motivate me or at least keep me accountable to write something, even like a couple of lines in the work journal. So A, it's going to motivate me to fill my journal. And B is it is going to send me email notifications every Saturday to review the post, right? So that will remind me that I need to get this post on Monday. So the whole weekend, in the whole weekend, like I can set aside time to just review it and modify the post. And the third one is while scheduling something on LinkedIn or posting on LinkedIn, it is slightly tedious, I would say, like not way too tedious, but it's slightly tedious. For example, if you want to bold something initially, I just couldn't do Command B. So I would use this app that will highlight or like bold a particular phrase and I'll just copy paste that in here. Then I came to know I just need to use asterisks in the front and at the end of the phrase that I want to bold it. So all these different formatting things that I personally feel before posting like uploading links or images, etc., everything, I don't have to worry about that anymore. AI is going to take care of that. So these are the three major reasons and the intentions behind me building this tool. So yeah, I am super happy with this project that I vibe coded. Thanks for watching.